Hi, gentlemen. So, with this lesson, when I'm not here, I'd like you to please read the Romantics writing lesson, which is in your English folders. So, please read through these important ideas, what Coleridge is showing through his poetry, what he's showing as a legislator, as someone who is not just a lawmaker, but someone who's offering an alternative to the dominant ideas of the time, of the mid 1800s or early 1800s industrial revolution when he was writing. So all of these ideas are very important. When you write your super steel paragraph, I want you to be using the words in the word bank here. Here are some sample statements that you can modify or you can be inspired for your own paragraph. And here is a sample paragraph here. It's not color coded as yours should be, and it is a very rough copy. So read it for the ideas. Though obviously the structure, it needs to have more quotes, and it's just a rough draft. All right, so you need to be doing obviously color coding and something more developed than this, but read it just for the ideas. Right, so we're going to go through the annotations very quickly for Lime Tree Bower, My Prison. And when you're studying the different eras, you need to be thinking back to what's happening in the metaphysical era as well, and making these connections between them, because that's what your essay will be about, okay? So showing your understanding of both periods. Now, so the Lime Tree Bower, My Prison, so it was one of his conversation poems. It's got a cyclic structure, so a journey is undertaken. So in this first stanza, we see him in the bower, okay, in this little grove of trees. The tone of this first stanza is he's feeling sorry for himself, he's unhappy, but we see by the final stanza, the tone is completely different. After he's been on this journey and he's had this sublime moment of imaginative immersion and experience of the sublime in nature, by the final stanza, he's able to go back to the bower and appreciate what he couldn't before. Okay, so it's very important that you see that this structure is like life. He's unhappy with life. He's got a narrow view of it. Okay, all these images of blindness, of darkness, of deepness. Okay, of the unsunned damp, the few poor yellow leaves, which gives you a sense of decay and lack of growth. All of this is turned around by the final stanza after his experience of nature and after taking this risk of imagination and liberty. He's able to appreciate his life and become a more well-rounded human being, just as one was supposed to in life. So Coleridge had a much more moral purpose to his poetry compared to Donne. He really wanted his poems to be improving for people and for people to take a moral message from them, unlike the more arch, conceited poetry of John Donne, which was for a much more limited audience. So we can look here even from the language. It's much more everyday. It can be read by everybody. We remember that Coleridge was a romantic poet. He was a man of the people. Right, so here he is. He's in his prison. He has lost beauties and feelings because he was injured. There was some milk spilt on his feet, so he had a burn. He couldn't go for his friends, accompany them on this walk. Okay, so they, meanwhile, friends who I never more may meet again. This is a hyperbolic assertion. Obviously, he will see them again. He's feeling very sorry for himself. They're just going for a little walk. But because he can't join them, he's feeling these lower emotions of envy and jealousy and self-pity, which he loses by the final stanza. So off they go on the springy heath, along the hilltop edge. Notice the enjambment here. Notice the caesura, how he mixes up the iambic pentameter, which is the da 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 rhythm, Okay, it's unrhymed. Okay, it's unrhymed. However, there is this very strong iambic rhythm of the mostly 10 syllables and the stress on the second syllable. But he breaks up the monotony of this by including caesura and playing around with the enjambment. Okay, these tiny little pauses at the ends of lines that create interest and emphasize the ideas of the lines. Okay, so they're wandering in gladness. They come upon a waterfall, which he told them about. So he's in this world of imagination now. The roaring dell, overwooded, narrow, deep, only speckled by the midday sun. Okay, they're setting out at midday. So remember that the light imagery here is very important in this poem. Its slim trunk from the ash from rock to rock, flings, we've got the enjambment here, flings arching like a bridge, that branchless ash unsunned and damp, whose few poor yellow leaves ne'er tremble in the gale. Okay, so we've got this mimetic syntax. The words are actually mimicking what is happening in nature. Rock to rock, flings arching like a bridge. Then you have the dash here. Okay, so they're making a bridge through into this world of nature that is going to transform them somehow. And the contrast here of the dark imagery of the long lank weeds, of the dark green file or row of long lank weeds, is bringing them out to what is going to happen in the next stanza of this sublime epiphany of nature. But it's more effective because we're coming out of this dripping, dark, gloomy dell, which mimics, in a type of pathetic fallacy way, his own feelings. So now, my friends, emerge beneath the wide, wide heaven and view again the many steepled tract magnificent of hilly fields and meadows, and the sea with some fair bark perhaps, whose sails light up the slip of smooth clear blue betwixt two isles of purple shadow. Yes, they wander on in gladness all. Okay, but thou methinks most glad, my gentle-hearted Charles. Can you tell this ecstatic tone here of them coming out into this wide field? Many steepled tract magnificent. So they're not seeing church steeples, they're seeing trees, they're seeing this wide open meadow. We've got the assonance here that opens us up, just like this. The sounds of these vowel sounds, it's opening us up in this extraordinary way to this view of nature that is almost like a religious experience. Okay, and he's following them in his imagination. Look at this incredible color imagery here, the clear blue, the purple shadow. All right, he's feeling the joy that they would be feeling, especially his dear friend Charles, who had a lot of problems in the city. His sister murdered their mother in a mad fury. She was bipolar. So Coleridge, his dear friend, and remember the Romantics were all about humanity. They were all about friendship. They were all about humans looking after each other. Okay, so he's addressing him in a very tender way, my gentle-hearted Charles. Thou hast pined and hungered after nature many a year in the great city pent. So you've been cooped up in the city, you've been hungering after this experience, and I'm seeing you in this experience in my imagination, and it is good for you. Okay? You've been through evil and pain and strange calamity. That's a reference to the murder of his mother. But look at you, you're in nature now. You're able to observe this life-giving sun. You are shining. You're part of these slant beams of the sinking orb. Ye purple heath flowers. We've seen this purple imagery here, the rich imagery. Ye purple heath flowers, richly aburn, ye clouds, live in the yellow light, ye distant groves, and kindle thou blue ocean. So he's repeating these images of the flowers, the clouds, the light, the ocean. Okay, he's emphasizing them in this stanza here. to show the transformative power of nature. All right, so this single person, Charles Lamb, is benefiting from this, but he's saying that everybody can benefit from being in nature, not being swamped by industrialization that kills human feeling. He believes that we should be immersing ourselves in nature in order to be fully human and in order to be able to deal with the challenges and the evil and pain of life. We can deal with it if we take this regular contact with nature that enables us to have a connection to something larger than ourselves, the Almighty Spirit. Okay, so this stanza is the transformation stanza. Now moving back, now in the third stanza, we've come full circle. A delight comes sudden on my heart, and I am glad as I myself were there. The power of his imagination has enabled him he's taken this risk to with his imagination, to share this journey with his friends. He's returned back to the bower. And nor in this bower, this little lime tree bower, have I not marked much that has soothed me. He realizes that he hasn't noticed the beauty of his own surroundings. Pale beneath the blaze hung the transparent foliage, and I watched some broad and sunny leaf, and loved to see the shadow of the leaf and stem above dappling its sunshine. Okay, so he's focusing on these tiny details of the leaf, the sunshine, and he realizes how deep and how important this connection with nature is to become a fully rounded individual. Look at this, the walnut tree was richly tinged and a deep radiance lay full on the ancient ivy. Okay, so rich, deep, ancient, that is the connection that human beings naturally should have with nature. And this is being taken away through industrialization and this pull to the cities. And his message to his readers is, do not forsake this. Continue to search for these moments in nature that will help you with the blackest mass. The dark branches gleam a lighter hue through late twilight. So this is symbolizing the end of our lives and death. And though now the bat wheels silent by and not a swallow twitters, yet still the solitary humble bee sings in the bean flower. Okay, so he is the bee, he is the worker, and he's able to sing, he's able to be positive because he knows that he's in the right place, he's in nature. Henceforth I shall know that nature never deserts the wise and pure. No plot so narrow be but nature there. So again, another reference to death. No plot so narrow, so that's your grave. No waste so vacant, but may well employ each faculty of sense and keep the heart awake to love and beauty. Okay, so if nature is there and your senses are alive and open, you will be awake to love and beauty. And the Romantics believed that that was the key to life. Love, connection with other human beings, and beauty, seeing beauty everywhere you went. So by having these incredible imaginative experiences in nature, you were able to open yourselves up to the most important things of life. Okay, so don't be closed down in the cities and your work and being forced to do things as was the case in the Industrial Revolution. Keep yourself open by your connection to nature, to love and beauty. And sometimes 'tis well to be bereft of promised good, that we may lift the soul and contemplate with lively joys the joys we cannot share. So sometimes having a bit of tragedy like he has in a minor way with his foot, he's able to lift his soul and he's able to use his imagination to join his friends on this journey. So he's able to be positive. So by being in nature and by using your imagination, you're able to deal with the challenge of life. So again, he addresses his friend. When the last rook beats its straight path across the dusky air, homewards I blessed it, deeming its black wing now a dim speck, now vanishing in light. Okay, so the rook is the crow. He's able to even bless the crow. He's able to bless death okay, because he's stood gazing, he's had this incredible experience in nature, and now no sound is dissonant